Hello Year 11s. This time we're going to talk about the geometric mean, okay? Geometric mean. Remember when we're talking about arithmetic, we're talking about numbers going up by a certain amount each time. When we're talking about geometric, we're talking about numbers being multiplied by a certain amount each time, all right? That's the difference. So the geometric mean of any two numbers, we'll call them x and y. That's meant to be an and, not a plus. So the geometric mean of x and y is the square root of x times y. It's just that easy. You take the two numbers, you multiply them together, and you take the square root. So, for example, what is the geometric mean of 49 and 81? So the geometric mean is the square root of both of these things multiplied together, okay? Now, there's an easy way to do this. We can just tell what the square root of these are. The square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 81 is 9, and 7 times 9 is 63. So that is, if you can quickly tell what they are, this is an easy way to do it. But if you can't always tell what it is, you can just do it the normal way and you'll still be able to tell what it is, okay? So we still start with the same line, but then what do? You can type this into your calculator, and it's the square root of 3,969. And then you just type that into your calculator and you get 63. So either way you get the same answer. It doesn't matter which way you do it. I don't care. This just might be a quicker way to do it without needing your calculator if you can just see the answers. Now, this is the easy version of it. So sometimes we'll be given some information and we can do this type of thing. We can find the geometric mean using simultaneous equations. So let's go up to the next page and have a go at that. So the question is going to tell us that the arithmetic mean of two numbers is 34. And the geometric mean of the same two numbers is 30. What are the two numbers? Okay? So we have to find these two numbers. Oh, why is it doing that? We're going to find these two numbers. We'll call them x and y just because why not? So let's find out what these two numbers could be using our formulas that we know, okay? So we know that the arithmetic mean is 34, and we know that you find the arithmetic mean by adding the two numbers together and dividing by 2. Remember we did that a while ago? If you can't remember that, go back and watch that video about arithmetic means. You add the two numbers together and you halve it, and that's the arithmetic mean. So we know that that equals 34, don't we? So how else are we going to write this? Well, let's get rid of the 2. So remember it's currently divide by 2. So we'll multiply by 2 on the other side. So we end up with 68. X plus y is 68. Okay? Now we know that the geometric mean is equal to 30. And how do we find the geometric mean? Well, remember we just multiply them together and take the square root. Is 30. Ta-da! Now if we want to get rid of the square root, what's the opposite of square rooting? It's doing the square, okay? So that's the opposite. So x times y is actually 900. All right? We don't want to leave the square root sign in there because that's just complicated. Now what we can do is we can easily change one of these equations so that we can use, well, first of all, let's label them. We'll call this one 1, we'll call this one 2. We can easily change this so that we can use the substitution method. Let's just get rid of y and put it on the other side. So we've taken our plus y and we'll put it over here. Now, this is easily substitutable. Substitutable? That's not a word. You know what I mean. Into x. So instead of x, we're going to use 68 minus y. This is a much simpler way to do it. We don't need to use the elimination method here because we've got addition up the top and multiplication down the bottom. So, yeah, we're going to use the substitution method, all right? I've run out of room, so let's turn the page. So let me just write the two equations up here again so we don't get confused. So we've got x equals 68 minus y, and our second one is xy equals 900. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to sub 1 into 2. Okay, so we end up with, instead of x, we've got 68 minus y times y equals 900. All I've done is replaced x with 68 minus y. So this 68 minus y is x because we're being told that that's what x equals, all right? So this is our substitution method. Now we only have one unknown, And this makes our life easy because now we can figure it out. So the first thing we do, let's get rid of brackets. So we have 68y because we need to times this by both, don't we? So 68y minus y squared, because y times y equals 900. Now, this does not look like something that's easily solvable. We're going to use our quadratics, our knowledge of quadratics, which you did last year, and I assume you have forgotten. So let's quickly go through what that means, okay? Now, what you need to do when you talk about quadratics, we're going to put things into brackets. So let me just rope off a section up here. We'll change the color so we don't get confused. Whoop, I've lost my pen. All right, let's write in blue. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change it. Remember, we want y here, and we want to find two numbers here. So we need to find two numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term. Multiply it to the last term, okay? Now, hopefully you remember that. We want to put a number in here and a number in here. These two numbers need to add to the middle term and multiply to the last term. So let's just change back colors. We're going to rewrite this a little bit. Oh, hang on. Let's get rid of that. What we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this so it looks like, oh, hang on. I will change colors again. We want it to look like x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0, okay? This is a good form for a quadratic. We want it to look something like that. So let's rearrange this so that it does look like that. So let's put the squared at the front and the y in the middle, and we're going to bring the 900 to the other side of the equal sign, okay? So we want it to look like this. Now it looks a bit more like a quadratic, but guess what? We hate negatives, so let's not do negatives. Let's change everything. If you're going to change one thing, you have to change everything, okay? If you want to change signs, that's fine, but you must change every sign, which is what we've just done here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what two numbers can go in here. So we want a y and a y. And we're going to figure out what two numbers will go here so that they multiply to 900 and add to negative 68, okay? Now, what we do know is that both numbers are going to have to be minus numbers. We know that because when multiplied together, they must be positive 900. So you need two negatives so that they will multiply to a positive number. And we know that they can't be two positives because we need a negative 68, don't we? And if we had positive 68, well, that would be different and they would both be positives. But because this is negative, we must have two negatives so that they can multiply to a positive and add to a negative. So this bit, unfortunately, is a little bit of trial and error. I've worked it out, so I can tell you that the numbers are going to be negative 18 and negative 50. Whoa, why did I write 20? Having a good brain day, obviously. Where's my pen? 50, okay? Because 50 times 18, or negative 50 times negative 18, is positive 900, and negative 50 take away 18 is negative 68, okay? Now this bit will require a little bit of trial and error, so don't worry too much about it. Just have a go until you find two numbers that match up, all right? This is your quadratic stuff. Now that we've got it in brackets, we know that y is 18 or 50, okay? Because all we do is change the sign. So we want one of these to equal 0 so that this can equal 0. Because remember, anything times 0 is 0. And this is really like having a times symbol in the middle, isn't it? No sign means times. So one of these things has to equal 0 for this equation to be true. So y must either be positive 18 or positive 50 to make one of these equal 0. Now we have two different answers here and we can check them in our equation. So let's go back and use our original equation. So let's go back and check them in equation number 1. So y equals 68 minus 18. Oh, why did I write x? Oh no, that's what I want to do. Sorry. So x equals, and instead of y, instead of y up here, instead of y, I've put 18 because 18. Okay, so x is 50 in this case. And let's try it out with the other number. So x equals 68 minus 50, because that's the other one that we know. So x is 18. So it works both times, 50 and 18. So the two numbers are 50 and 18. Now I realise that this is quite a lot of information all at once, but hopefully that sort of made sense to you, and you can go back and watch it again, I suggest, because this is a little bit complex, and hopefully remembering simultaneous equations will help, but this quadratic stuff is sort of a new addition. You did it last year, but I gather that it's very foreign to you, okay? So the geometric mean stuff is the easy bit, but then you need to find your two equations. That's the easy bit. Then the hard bit is actually when you get into solving your simultaneous equations and you need to use your use of quadratics, your knowledge of quadratics, sorry. So watch that again, have a think about it, and hopefully that makes sense.